kind of angel's dust onto the counter space beneath. I smoothed it delicately over the formica surface, the yellow moon suspended in my mother's hands. When Friday night arrived, my father went to synagogue, which we called in Yiddish shul, though nobody in my family spoke Yiddish, not even my mother's father or my father's mother, both of whom seemed more American to me than my own parents. "Give Abba a kiss goodbye," my mother said, using the Hebrew word for father, one of only a handful of Hebrew words in her vocabulary outside of the prayer service, which, though she knew well, she didn't understand. When Abba comes back, it will already be Shabbat. My father left for shul before the Sabbath began so that he could drive there. Once Shabbat started, no use of electricity was permitted according to Jewish law. No turning on and off lights, no cooking, no driving, no television, no radio, no telephone. Other Shabbat laws meant no writing, no use of money, no baths, no bicycles, no drawing, no carrying anything outside. By the time my father left, I had already had my Shabbat bath, which meant I got to use my mother's special green soap that came in a tall green plastic bottle and that had to be held upside down and squeezed in order to release its dark liquid, so green it seemed black. The soap smelled like pine, which in turn smelled like my mother. Because I was almost 6, she sometimes let me squeeze the bottle myself, but I usually squeezed out too much, and it was from Jerusalem, which I knew to be the holiest place in the world and very far away. It was also the place where my parents had met and where I had been born, though we had left when I was a baby, and I knew it only from stories. My mother squeezed out the soap for me onto a rough brown tool she called a loofah, which I thought was the Hebrew word for sponge. Then she'd say, "Stand up, Sarah, honey." And as I stood knee-deep in the bath water, she would scrub my legs and arms, especially my knees and elbows, my shoulders and my back, until my whole body was slick with a thin green gloss. She told me this was very good for my skin, even if it stung a little. "Now you'll glow like the Shabbat queen," she said. I slinked back into the water to rinse off, and also to swim like a dolphin, which I sometimes thought I was. It would have been easier to imagine if our bathtub was white, like at my cousin's house, which lent the water a blue cast, as though it were an inlet in an ocean. Instead, our tub, along with all the bathroom tiles, was avocado green, making the bath water a murky and forbidding hue. Still, I would have stayed in the bath forever, if not for my mother telling me that if I didn't get out in time, I wouldn't be able to kiss Abba goodbye before he left. Sometimes I'd say to my mother, "Ima, wrap my hair up like you do after your bath." But she would tell me my hair was too short and didn't need to get wrapped up. So sometimes, secretly, when she thought I was getting dressed in my room, I would stand in front of the mirror and try to wrap my hair up. But I could never get the towel to stay, and then my mother would be calling me, telling me to hurry, that Abba would soon be leaving. I had special dresses only for Shabbat. In the winter, I usually wore the one with small, dark-colored roses and a big lace collar. I had another one with black, dark green, and burgundy stripes and a matching sash, which was my favorite word. I also had a white satin blouse with pearl buttons and a high-neck collar that went underneath a navy wool jumper with big silver buttons and a knife-pleated skirt, sent to me by my grandmother from New York in a big Bloomingdale's box. In the summer, if we weren't having guests, I was allowed to wear my white camisole, which was my second favorite word, with pajama bottoms. I put on a Shabbat dress.